Okay guys, so we're going to talk about something called parent functions, and they're really important. Okay, I want you to look up here. Can you guys tell that these are all U's, like they look like U's, parabolas, right? They're just different sizes, some are upside down, some are wider, some are skinny, but they're all parabolas. You agree? Mm-hmm. Okay, look at the equations on there as well. Do you see any similarity in the equations?
They all have an X.
They all have an X. What else? That is true. They all have a y, they're all equal, and they're all squared, okay? The part I want to emphasize that's really important is they are all squared. Squared, 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 squared. That's what's giving it that shape, okay? The parabola shape. Everything else, all these other numbers, which we're about to hit here, I think maybe as early as tomorrow, that's what, and you've done this in algebra too, that's what moves these parabolas around, right? It moves it right, it moves it up, it makes it wider, it makes it skinnier, all that good stuff, right? But what I want to focus on is the parent function. Okay, a parent function means the original. Okay, what's the most original? Like they do it with cars. Here, have you guys ever seen when they carve out the car design, like with clay, they carve it out the way they want it to look? Then from that, that's how they cast the car, and then everything comes from that design. I don't know what other examples I can give you, but there's a lot. Like plastic is made that way. They make a cast for that design, and then they just mold it. So there's an original, okay? That's the same with this, there's an original. That original is called the parent function, and it's super easy to find. Take away all the extra stuff, okay? Of these equations, which one's the most basic? Which one? Which one?
The red one, the top.
The red one, right? So check this out. If I take away all that other stuff, all the ups, all the downs, all the stretches, all the compresses, that's your parent function. Okay, that's the original one. Now, I can't take away the 2, because that's what makes it what it is. If I take away the 2, then it's not a parabola anymore. It'll turn into a line, okay? But all the other stuff was extra. So guys, this is the parent function. It's really important that you know, because that's what we take to do stuff to it, okay? So anyways, that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna learn about parent functions. So let's begin your notes. This is 1 to 5 notes. Parent functions. Okay, now there's a lot, and we do more than what I'm going to show you today. But we're going to just show you a handful. Okay, and later on we'll do some more. So write number 1, and let's do just the. Not too small, not too big, just kind of like a medium-sized graph. Okay? And then we're going to talk about, I would say this is like the parent of the parent function. But the most original one is y equals x. Okay? That's where is it still good? Yeah. Sometimes when I switch to the black screen, it'll get unfocused. Okay. I think it's good. I'm going to try to lock it, see if it's still. Okay. Okay. So anyways, anybody remember what that looks like? Algebra 1, algebra 2. Is this the straight line? Okay. Now make sure you put those arrows on the end and make sure it touches the middle. That's the big deal. Yeah, that it touches the middle. Now what I want you guys to do for this first example, do write out these words. So like A will be the domain. B will be the range. Like write out the whole word. After this example, we're just gonna write A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way down. Okay, that way we know all what A stands for. Okay, C is x-intercept. And then what's it called? And D would be y-intercept. Sila, we're just doing the notes, we just started. E will be extrema. F will be symmetry. And then G will be increase. H will be decrease. And then we're going to do something called an asymptote. And you're like, why are we writing all this stuff down? Okay. Well, this is kind of like pre-K, you know, when you went back in pre-K and you start learning all the parts. This is my hands, this is my feet, this is my eyes, all that stuff. That's what we're doing, but for the graph. Okay, it's called attributes, all the parts of the graph. All right, guys, so everybody good so far? Okay, so let's finish copying those. And now, on all the other ones, we're just gonna put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, let's start number 2. Okay, 2 is the one that I introduced right in the beginning, okay, the parabola, which is called a quadratic. It's y, notice it's also y equals to x, just like the other one. But the difference is we put on it a square, and that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it be a U shape, a parabola. Also, again, just focus that it touches the middle. That's the important part right now. Yeah. Obviously, there's more details to that, but just basic stuff right now. So again, now you're just gonna write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Now we know what they stand for. Okay. Number 3. Good. Very good. Okay. Number 3. It's this one. Y equals to x. Again, y equals to x. This one's actually the inverse of the quadratic. Inverse means like opposite. So like what's the opposite of water? Fire. Okay, inverse. Opposite Caprock football team. Who's our arch rivals? I said PD earlier, I don't know. But opposites, okay, opposites. So does anybody know the inverse of a quadratic? From algebra 2? It's some classes do remember. Square root. Okay. The square root is the opposite. And when you see it visually, this is why look. It's like a parabola, but sideways. Okay. Now, notice I dashed the bottom, okay? We actually don't take the bottom into consideration because it's not a function if you do the bottom. Okay, we'll talk more about that later as well. Also want to put on here, it's important, this is the same as, does anybody remember? When I ask you that, does anybody remember? It's because I haven't told you myself this year, because I'm just seeing if you remember from last year. Does anybody remember what the power is? Like instead of, like if I don't want to write a square root, I can put a power. Anybody?
Is it 4? What?
It's a weird one. Nobody? No? Once I write it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. Well, it's been summer, right? Okay, and then again, we just do A, B, C, D. All right. Number important, okay, don't, the bottom just, I put it on there to show you it's like a sideways parabola, but we ignore the bottom, pretend it's not there. That one's number 3, number 4. I think we do 6 of them. Okay. Number 4. So, not a square, but the next one after a square, a cubic. Okay. I've shown you a cubic a little bit. So a cubic, I don't know how to describe that shape, but it's like an S kind of shape. We're not gonna do the cube root because it's so similar to this one. This is sideways, so we're not gonna do it for now. Can you ask me right now? What's up?
I was gonna ask, like, can we take those tests and don't have a period?
I can't, because I'm like doing this and then I'll have to stop. But I'll be here at lunch tomorrow. Okay. A, B, C. Okay. So anyway. Number 5. So we're not gonna do the cube root, but we're gonna do this one. Anybody, you do that one in algebra 2. Anybody remember what that one's called?
Absolute.
Absolute value. Does anybody remember what it looks like visually? Some classes do, some classes don't. Yeah, that's a V. So it's like the parabola, but straight. It's just the perfect V. And again, just remember, it does touch the middle. Okay, that's the important part. And then again, just A, B, C, we'll talk in more detail about these, like there's specific points and all that, but we just don't have enough time to get into that. And then number 6, I want you to put a little star on that one. That one's gonna be the harder one. Some students have said they do see this in algebra 2 and some have not, so I don't know. What's it called? This one's the one that's a bit different. Instead of y equals to x, it's y equals to 1 over x. It's called a rational. It's the same as, this one's a little harder, I don't know. You know what, I haven't asked this question, so it's okay if you don't know, but anybody know what this power is? It's harder. Well, you'll get good at it, I promise, later on, but it's a -1 power. And it looks real weird, it looks like this. You guys remember doing this in algebra 2? Yeah, well, that's good. Alright, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so now we're gonna go back all the way to the top. I'm gonna separate this video.